Just outside of downtown Nashville, on 1,120 acres of land, lies a mansion that used to be home to one of our nation's most famous presidents. This museum, filled with relics from its previous owner, is sure to provide a memorable historic experience for any and all of its visitors. Now let's take a step back in time and see what life was like for Old Hickory, that famous president who you may just find in your wallet one day.
Hi, my name's Jason Nelson. I'm here at the Hermitage, the home of President Andrew Jackson. Jackson lived here in his adult life with his wife Rachel until she passed away, and then moved back here after his tenure at the White House.
You can visit the Hermitage today, where you can find out anything from how he became our nation's 7th president to how he got his face on the $20 bill.
This place is 1,120 acres of pure history. When you come here, you're immersed in Andrew Jackson's life and times. You learn about his family, you learn about how he lived his life, and you learn about his legacy. Andrew Jackson was the rock star president. He was a total contradiction. He was sometimes just unruly, but sometimes just your best friend. You never knew about the way that he was going to react to a given situation. However, he was extremely loyal.
Andrew Jackson was born on March 15, 1787. He was orphaned at a very early age and came to Nashville to start his own law office.
He came out here and cultivated this land and actually lived in the first Hermitage, which is in the backyard, and for about 20 years until he built this mansion as we see here today.
Jackson had a sprawling career. He was a state representative, senator, and even a judge on the Tennessee Supreme Court, and of course would eventually go on to become President of the United States.
Well, the whole basis of Jackson's presidency was the fact that he was a general in the War of 1812. He became a national hero at the Battle of New Orleans, in which he defeated the British with a ragtag group of not only soldiers, but militia, Indians, and pirates. Sounds like something out of a movie.
Many of Jackson's tales are like something out of a movie. He was a man of the people who would often invite the public to come see him at the Hermitage. He was actually known to be a bit of a party animal.
In fact, one of the greatest stories is when he was in the White House, he would throw these lavish parties and invite the public in. And one of the times, someone carted in an enormous wheel of cheese that they kind of just nibbled on. And the legend goes that the White House smelled like cheese for about 2 weeks afterwards.
General Andrew Jackson was a widower president. His wife Rachel died right before he entered the White House, and he was grief-stricken for the rest of his life. After his time in the White House, he retired back to his home in Nashville.
It's called the Hermitage because Jackson named it after his place of rest. In fact, the general, his wife, and other members of his family are laid to rest here in Rachel's garden, which is adjacent to the mansion.
Jackson was known to have quite the temper. In 1806, he challenged Charles Dickinson to a duel, which Jackson won, but not before he was shot by Dickinson in the chest.
The bullet that shot Jackson went through his thick coat and lodged itself right by his heart. It gave him problems throughout his life in terms of breathing and other ailments, and it's part of what affected his decline.
Andrew Jackson died on June 8, 1845. It is said that his pet parrot was present at his funeral, but it had to be removed because it wouldn't stop swearing. The Hermitage, as a museum, was founded years later, in 1889, by the Ladies' Hermitage Association, and it has been preserved with the utmost care and detail. Many of the relics you see in the Hermitage are there today, in part thanks to a loyal servant of Jackson's estate.
One of Andrew Jackson's slaves, Alfred, whose cabin is right directly behind the mansion, was the first tour guide here that started in 1889. After Jackson died, Alfred bought a large amount of the possessions that were inside of the home. And when the Ladies' Hermitage Association decided to turn this into a museum, he sold all the furniture back to them. Alfred's final request to the ladies was to be buried next to the general, and that was fulfilled, and he lies here today just a few feet away from Andrew Jackson's grave.